So, I want to talk about some of the things I've learned being 22 years old now. Not much, and I know I got a lot more to learn. But I first wanted to start by saying, sorry. I'm wearing a shirt, okay? It's just my camera thing is weird. Um, so one of the things I learned is you can do every single thing right. You can do what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it, prepare, do everything that you're supposed to do, and you still might not end up getting what you wanted or what you expected, or things might not turn out how you were planning for them to. I say that because, not having my own car now, I rely on public transportation. And there's been many times, I want to say 6 times in the past 2 months, I'll be at the bus stop on time. I'll do my part. Excuse me. I'll hustle to get there, do what I need to do to make sure that I get there on time, and the bus driver will drive past me. And the other day it happened, and I was so glad there was somebody else standing there waiting with me because, um, he was there to witness it. It was like, okay, so it's not just me. So that sucks because it's like that actually affects me. That affected the fact that I didn't get to work on time and I'm losing money because for some reason you drove past me. And it's not like we weren't standing in the right place. What happened was we were letting the people get off before we tried to get on. And when the people got off, the bus driver just gonna close the doors and drive away. There's been times where I was standing in the right place and the bus driver didn't even stop. And I'm just like, and it's not that they're too packed or anything. It's like, um, there was a time where I really needed to get groceries. I didn't have any food. And so the bus dropped me off at like 9:15. The only store that was open that I could get to closed at 10. So it wasn't too far. It wasn't too far, but at my normal walking speed, I wouldn't have got there in time. Um, so I hustled, breathing heavy, wanting to slow down. But I'm like, no, you gotta make it to this store. And I did. Got there like 9:42, and on the door it says they're open from, I think it was like 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. So I got there before 10 p.m. and this nigga in front of the door talk about, oh, I'm not letting anybody else in. The people who are in here are just gonna come out. And I'm thinking to my, like, I was pissed because, like, I did what I was supposed to do. I got there on time, and I even worked really hard to get there. And because you want to be lazy and not do your job, you want to close the store at 9:40, even though it clearly says 10 p.m. And I wasn't the only one there. Some guy was also trying to get in, and some lady was trying to get in, but the lazy lady was like raising hell, and she gonna snatch the door open and walk in there anyway. And I'm like, everybody eats their own, but she was fussing and fussing and cussing and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, like, lady, you got a car. Like, there is no need for all this energy when you could simply just get back in your car and go somewhere else that's open. Because Walmart was still open. Walmart doesn't close until I think like midnight. So you could have went to a gas station. It's like, what do you need here that you can't go get somewhere else? That you can't just hop in your car and drive somewhere else? To me, it was like she wanted to use the opportunity to like release something. Like maybe in the past, there's been situations where like, people have wronged her, and so, this situation triggered her and she started acting like that. But I'm just like, me? I can't go nowhere else. Like, it was either at the store or nowhere. So, you know, so it's like I got there, I did my part, I did what I was supposed to do. I still ended up not being able to, I ended up being the one without. And that part really sucks because you can't do anything about it. All you can really do is just try to think about it differently, try to cope with it, try to, find a way to not feel like shit about it. So yeah, that's why I say that. Another thing I learned is organization is organization, preparation, and routines have done tremendous for me. And ever since I fell off of my routines and I stopped being organized, I felt very unstable. I felt emotionally unstable. I've just felt like shit. And trying to get back into a routine is crazy because it's like for a month I was on my routine and it felt good, and all the coping skills and all the things that I was learning I was applying, and they worked. They worked. Now I'm in a state where it's like I don't even want to try. Like, what's the point? Even though I've learned already that it does work. Um, but my problem is it's very hard for me to initiate a task, and sometimes it will literally feel like I'm pulling tooth and nail just to get up and do what I need to do. It literally feels like it just takes so much effort and so much energy to do something very simple. Um, Things that I know will make me feel good and make me feel better that are good for me, I have no desire to do. I have no motivation to do. And it's like this voice in the back of my mind is that's just like, girl, you know what to do. But at the same time, I imagine it and it's just like, like, I don't know what that is, but I've noticed it. When I was in my routines, it felt like that the first maybe 3 days, but after that, it was like just automatic. I also noticed for myself that my mood is affected by my thoughts. So, like the other day, perfect example, I was doing my laundry, listening to a Steve Lacy song, and the lyrics of the song were like, turned 19 so we couldn't really be thirsty. And as soon as I heard that, in like a millisecond, I had a flashback vision, whatever, of when I was 19 and the things that were going on when I was 19. And from that thought, I started to literally feel heavy. I started to literally feel like stress, negative stress, negative energy. And from there, I started to engage with the thought and the feeling and having flashbacks. And then, like a millisecond after hearing that one trigger, my brain went through this whole thing. And what happens is I'll start to engage with these thoughts. And before I know it, now I'm like in this full-blown state of just thinking about things that are causing me stress. Like, nobody wants to sit around and constantly have thoughts of breakups, people who hurt you, things that are distressing, things that make you feel stressed out. Nobody wants to be thinking about it all day long. But what happens is that breaks. I've noticed that it doesn't go on so long because those things do affect my mood. Like, before I know it, I've just slid into this state. But the thing is, I remember doing that in the past and being stuck in that. Now it's not like it breaks. It breaks because I'll do something like every time I get, those feelings of just having these constant intrusive thoughts, I'll go do something like take a shower or I'll go make some coffee. Like, I've learned to have like anchor moments so that when I do feel it, I immediately think, okay, I need to get up and do something. And I've noticed that, and I think I'm going to try to apply this more, but I've learned that my mind is constantly going. It's like for some reason, it just can't be silent. It can't be, and not silent, silent and, um, silent, whereas I mean, my thoughts aren't constantly pulling me in, and I'm in this disassociative state where I'm just in flashbacks, having memories every few seconds. And I'm constantly narrating, talking. There's even maybe like a song playing in the background in my head. Like, there's always noise. And I create that myself. It's almost like I don't want to be quiet. I don't want to calm down. I have to be on alert. I have to be thinking. I have to be analyzing. And that causes me so much stress to the point where I don't realize it, but I want relief. And instead of using like coping skills to get relief, I do things like drink and smoke, even masturbate, like things that I know will change the state of mind that I'm in. But, those things hurt me and they create habits that aren't necessarily the healthiest. Um, so one thing I learned was when I'm moving and I'm doing a task, I'm not thinking about my thoughts. Like it's literally like it literally feels like clouds passing by. Like they're there and I hear them, but it's like my brain can't focus on those thoughts and do the activity at the same time. It's like the activity takes over and my brain just goes into this state of just like I'm not stuck. And here it's like brushing my teeth. While I'm brushing my teeth, I'm not really attaching myself to any of the things that are happening in my brain, any of the things I'm thinking. When I'm doing my laundry, folding my clothes, hanging up my clothes, making coffee, when I'm cooking, I notice that movement literally helps me to stop thinking. And like it's kind of cool, but it makes me feel like I have to find a way to turn on autopilot because some people are in autopilot and they're not really thinking, they're just doing, and that's what I want to do. It's like I just want to do. I don't want to constantly be analyzing, processing, whatever. So I'm going to try to remember that and make sure that I'm doing chores more often because those are times when my mind is quiet and I'm not thinking about how upset I am over my past and who hurt me and how I'm going to get revenge and all these other things. Um, so I noticed that I learned that. And I also learned that I feel like I'm a very logical person, especially when it comes to conflicts with people, because I feel like if I can explain myself, if I can just explain and get you to understand, you wouldn't be so upset. You wouldn't feel the way that you do because you could see me, you could see where I'm coming from, and it makes sense. It honestly does. I feel like I'm literally the most logical person, but my logic is because of who I am and the way that I see things versus somebody else who's completely different. They don't see things the same way as I do. They weren't raised the same way as I am. They don't have the same values as I do. That logic, no matter how much I try to explain it, isn't going to do anything. And so sometimes the best thing for me to do is stop explaining, accept that I know what I know, and believe that I'm right, and just keep it pushing. Like, okay, that's how you feel, that's how you feel, whatever. And stop trying to explain to people because the more that I do that, I end up getting hurt. You know, I was like all distraught earlier crying because it feels like whenever somebody hurts me, they take things away from me, they punish me, and they try to hurt me. Versus when my feelings are hurt, nobody gives a flying fuck. There is no consequence for hurting my feelings. If I stop talking to you and ghost you, you don't give a fuck. Like, nothing happens when people hurt me, yet when somebody else's feelings are hurt, they get to destroy me and hurt me. And it just pisses me off so much because it literally makes me feel like, you know, that's not fair. It's like I feel very vulnerable and it just makes it feel like the world isn't a safe place. And it's not. But it's like walking around feeling like an alien, feeling not connected to anyone, feeling like I'm strange and crazy for having the logic that I do and looking at things in a more logical way. It's like, honestly, I've been feeling like I want to take myself out recently because the amount of pain I feel. And it's like I've been having like, I've had passive, you know, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube, of taking my life. I've had those passing thoughts. The furthest I went was like writing a letter, pretty much, letting everybody know why. But this time it's different. It's more like intensity. I literally kept imagining just like stabbing myself, just stabbing myself, or like driving a car and just speeding and crashing into a wall. It's like the amount of intensity I feel, because it's like I feel like I gotta make it loud for people to understand. But even then, I still won't be understood. Because people will say, oh, she did it because of, oh, she did it because of, and I still won't be understood. So it's like I'm trying to find ways to like protect myself from people who have mental health issues, who need to go to therapy, who need to take a look at themselves and actually look at what they do. Like, I'm tired of being around pretty much people on autopilot. People who are just doing and they're not really thinking. They're just doing what they're used to doing. It's like, that's scary to me. But at the same time, I need to be on autopilot. Like, I need to get to a place where I'm not inward all the time. I'm doing something and my mind is quiet. I feel like that would allow me to relax a lot more. I feel like that would get rid of a lot of my anxiety. I feel like that would get rid of a lot of my rumination and my mood problems, I learned that taking care of myself feels amazing. I learned that respecting myself and listening to my gut is one of the best things I can do to show love to myself, because most times I already know how things are going to end. Most times, I'm not going to say every time, but most times. And instead of being like, oh, well, maybe this time it won't happen, like, no, it's going to happen. Like, don't even put that in your brain, like, so yeah. Another thing I realized was my idea of living was so small. Like, my ideal, like, as a kid, I had my dreams of how I would be when I grew up. But the way that I'm living now, at one point, this was my dream. Like, this was my goal, to have money, to own my space, to be comfortable, to be safe, to be a little bit more stable. But it's like I'm looking at my life and I'm like, I want something different. Like, I would really love to move to New York, because I feel like New York, it's just constant people all day long. You're not going to go somewhere and there's nobody there. Like, people are walking by you, people are all around me, and that's what I want. It's like, I live in the suburbs, everybody has a car, it's a lot of older people around here. So I don't know why I'm scratching so much, but I want more interaction with people, even if it's not talking with people, but just being around people. Honestly, it's like, that might get annoying at some point, but I feel like it would help me to feel less alone, because it would just remind me of how many people are in this world, like how many people are alive living their own lives, and I have no idea about it. Like, it would help me to stay grounded in reality, versus kind of just being like, I'm alone, I don't have any connections or whatever. I feel like, but then I was thinking about it and I'm like, I don't want to be somewhere where it's cold and there's no, like, I don't want to be somewhere where it's cold. I want to be somewhere where for most of the year it's nice summer weather. I want to live somewhere where the beach is close. It's no more than like 10-20 minutes away, where I could go there any point of the day, eat my lunch there, eat my dinner there, whatever. Like, I just want access to a beach and water, because I love water. I like looking at water. I like being in water. I love water. So I want to be able to go to the beach whenever I want. I want it to be sunny, because I love the sunlight. It literally makes me feel happy, like at peace, like joy. Like, I'm very grateful for sunlight and being able to experience that. Days that it's cloudy, I literally feel like there's just this background static of like a little bit of like heaviness. I'm not explaining it, but so I was like, okay, well, how can I do this? It's very possible. It's not impossible at all. And I'm thinking of either Texas or Cali, like not South Carolina, Southern California. It's really expensive in California, I know, but I was first thinking of taking a certification. It was like called the behavioral health counseling certification, and after I get it, I'd be able to work as a behavioral health counselor. But the pay for that position really isn't much more than I make now. And because of my experience already in my role, if I were to go get a job somewhere else, they'd look at my 3 years of experience and be like, oh yeah, we could pay her more. Because a company was about to pay me $35 an hour. So I know that in another place, you know, I could get around that. So I was like, yeah, I could do this. So all I have to do is like, you know, call places where I'm trying to move and set up my resumes and applications and all that so I can get that situated before I even go there. I would need to get a car, and I would need to save money. But the scary part is like, I'm so scared of ending up in a situation where like I lose everything, and now I'm in a place where I have no family, and I'm pretty much just going to be alone, stranded in a fucked up situation. Like, that is my fear. But at the same time, you know, like I said, even if you do every single thing right, you could still end up in a fucked up situation. But I feel like if I do everything that I possibly can do to avoid that, then I feel like I should be okay. Because I really want to get out of my state. It's boring here. I mean, there's nothing here. And because it's cold for like a little bit over, for like a third of the year, there's not much you can do. I don't have any friends. I don't have anything here. I have no children. I have no husband, boyfriend. I have no responsibilities. So it's like, I'm young, you know, let me go experience life somewhere else, and just take a leap for it. I would be the first person in my family to do something like that. So I'm really planning on, like, hopefully by the end of the year, you know, I'd either be in the process of moving there or actually move there. So hopefully I'll be making YouTube videos too then, and you'll be able to see the difference. But all these things are possible, but I didn't even think that they were possible. Like, that idea, this whole thing was just not a reality to me, you know, a year ago. Like, I wasn't even thinking like this. So it's like I really want to change the scenery. The only thing though I'm thinking about is Texas and Cali and Florida and Georgia. Like, I gotta lose weight because there ain't no way in the world I'm being somewhere where it's hot all year round and I gotta be all hot and greasy and wet and sweaty. Like, nah, I gotta lose some weight first. So, but yeah,